Hey, shalom, shalom. First off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rechak, Wadash, and double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honor, salutations, and blessings to the men that are preaching the gospel of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, in all sincerity, diligence, and truth. And peace, grace, and blessings be upon the house of David, which is the elect. So, this is just something real quick. A brother had sent me this, and I seen another video on YouTube, which I'll play. Touching on this sorcery steak, all right, this edible enchantments that Esau is pushing out very, very hard, as of late, knowing that there's going to be a manufactured food crisis, right? He has been now, given the green light commercially for these lab grown, can't even call it food, but these lab grown sorcery to be sold in restaurants throughout United States. Like I said, this is just more of Esau's witchcraft, more of his sorcery, to the point where now they're actually about to feed you sorcery. They're about to actually feed you witchcraft. And because it's now been FDA approved, right? They don't, you go in these stores, unless you read the ingredients, which I believe they said that once they start hitting the grocery stores, it's going to say sell cultured meat, something to that effect. So unless you read these ingredients, you won't even be noticing that you're eating, literally fake food. All right, that's what they're about to, give to the populace. And in this other video that I saw, the lady, she basically said that labs are replacing farms, right? Which makes sense why you have Bill Gates of Hell, all right, or Hill Bates becoming the largest farm owner in America, right? Why even over there in Europe, why there's such a big push by the government to take away farmland from these farmers, because what they're about to do is feed the world sorcery. All right, feed the fake and organic meat and call it real food, because it mimics the taste of the authentic food, which is from animals, right, and plants that Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, gave us to eat. But see, this devil, as the scripture says here in the book of 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 4, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped. Okay? And this devil, he objects everything that is called the Most High, everything that is called nature, natural, which the Lord created, right? Esau objects to that, and he pushes out a anti-Messiah and adverse way of life upon the people, which he calls better or augmented, right? He calls cleaner. And that's why the scripture says, woe unto him that calls good evil and evil good, that put light for darkness and darkness for light. So it says, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. And this is one of the many sorceries and tricks, right, that this devil uses.
Stem cells are still alive.
That he uses to show himself to be as God, right? Telling you what real food is or what good food is, and telling you that the food that comes from nature, comes from the earth, is bad for you. And the food that he makes from a lab, right, a laboratory, is good for you. So let's listen to this.
cells are still alive. Stem cells are still alive. The whole printing process should be carried out in a sterile environment. The printed beef is then placed in an incubation chamber to allow it to continue growing. This way, after a few weeks of growth, it will form muscle fibers and fat tissue like real beef, so that a piece of technological beef that you can hardly distinguish from the real one is made. However, due to the current cost of this 3D printed beef, then the real beef is expensive to popularize. There is still a way to go. When the time comes, if it really popular, you will support this kind of beef. Beef you eat may not be real beef, but beef printed out by high-tech 3D printing. This kind of beef not only looks no different from real beef, but also tastes and textures are similar to real beef, even more fragrant. This kind of technology beef sounds unbelievable. How do they do it? We all know that beef consists of white fat and red muscle. Technology beef is the use of technology to reconstruct them both. Scientists will first extract bovine stem cells from cattle and then put the stem cells into a Petri dish. The Petri dish is a magic tool for artificial technology to mimic the environment of the cow's body. Here the bovine stem cells will feel like they are still in the bovine body. So the bovine stem cells will keep dividing and growing in the Petri dish. After the stem cells have divided enough, the scientists will make the stem cells into something called bioink. Bioink is divided into two kinds, one for printing beef white fat, one for printing beef red muscle, Next, the shape, size and grain to be printed are designed in the computer. And once set, the 3D printer will print out a piece of beef appearing according to the program set 1. In order to ensure that the printed bovine stem cells are still alive, the whole printing process should be carried out in a sterile environment. The printed beef is then placed in an incubation chamber to allow it to continue growing. This way, after a few weeks of growth, it will form muscle fibers and fat tissue like real beef, so that a piece of technological beef that you can hardly distinguish from the real one is made. However, due to the current cost of this 3D printed beef, then the real beef is expensive to popularize. There is still a way to go. When the time comes, if it really popular, you will support this kind of beef. Beef you eat may not be real beef.
So, two things I wanted to point out, right? The first thing is they're calling it technological beef. Okay? Mixing food, nature, right? What comes from the ground with Esau and his warped mind, right? Through his, his perversion, his knowledge, or should I say his perverse knowledge, technology. Okay? So they have created something called technological beef. And then if you was paying attention, they called these petri dish, they said of these magical dishes, right? These magical what was the exact word that they used? Hold on, let me go back. I'm gonna go back so I can hear it.
Still alive. The whole printing process should be carried out in a sterile environment. The printed
So I knew that was gonna happen.
beef you eat may not be real beef, but beef printed out by high-tech 3D printing. This kind of beef not only looks no different from real beef, but also tastes and textures are similar to real beef, even more fragrant. This kind of technology beef sounds unbelievable. How do they do it? We all know that beef consists of white fat and red muscle. Technology beef is the use of technology to reconstruct them both, Scientists will first extract bovine stem cells from cattle and then put the stem cells into a Petri dish. The Petri dish is a magic tool for artificial...
There you go. Said the petri dish is a magic tool for artificial, basically, artificial growth. Okay, so they're telling you, what exactly they're doing. They said it's a magic tool. Now they're doing all this in a laboratory. When you go into the word lab, right? You go into the word laboratory, which is short, where you get the word lab from. It says a room or building set apart for scientific experiments. Okay, so this food that they're giving the people, the masses of people, is basically it's a scientific experiment. You see, and this is why they can have the FDA, which is supposed to be a institution that regulates, right? That watches, the purity, so to speak, of food and drug, right? The Food and Drug Administration. But how are they approving? Why is the FDA approving technological beef when it's actually not real food? All right, and as they just said themselves, they're using a magical petri dish in order to grow this artificial food. So you're literally eating fake food, which goes back into 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 9, it says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power, signs, and lying wonders. Okay, that word lying means pseudo. Okay, that's in the Greek. It's pseudos, which is fake. All right, or not authentic. All right, artificial, if you will. You see? And this is why, once again, we are constantly praying that Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai speed up these days, all right, shorten the days for the elect's sake, because if not, as Yahushua said, there will be no flesh saved. Okay? Mark 13, verse 20, and except the Lord had shortened those days, no flesh should be saved, but for the elect's sake, whom he hath chosen, he hath shortened the days. You see, so these days that we're living in right now, okay, it's not going to prolong for decades and decades, man. Because if that was the case, there would be no flesh saved. Because after a while, all the food that will ever be made accessible will only be, sorcery steak, all right, edible enchantments. That's the only thing that we would be able to eat if this devil was allowed to, stick around in authority for years on end. All right, so this is another article that just came out earlier today.
Tonight, the age of lab-grown chicken is taking flight at a famed D.C. restaurant. Diners will be some of the first people to get a chance to taste what researchers have been working on for years. CBS's Anna Werner shows us how labs could one day replace farms in tonight's American.
You hear that? How labs can one day replace farms. Farms have been around since humanity, man. Farms have been around since mankind was put on the earth to till the earth, right? And here it is, this devil, in the last age of his rulership. Look how far he's going with his witchcraft, right? Look how far he's going with opposing the Most High's ways, right, of life, just life in general. You see? So they want to replace farms with labs, and labs are used for what? What is the purpose of Esau using labs? It's really to concoct witchcraft, because these scientists and these so-called researchers are nothing but witches and warlocks. Okay, they're nothing but witches and warlocks, splicing different cells and things together in a lab, in a tube, in a machine, or in a petri dish, and then calling it food, giving it to you to eat. All right, that's why that scripture says, and they shall feed you being idle with things offered unto idols. Because understand that a lot of and most of these various different labs, okay, they are into idolatry. Now, whether or not every single researcher and scientist does it consciously, but they're doing it subconsciously. All right, the fact that they're willing to create food to mimic real life and then give it to you as actual edible food, that's sorcery in itself. That's witchcraft in itself, man. All right, that's why, where we gotta constantly pray over our food, which a lot of people don't even do. All right, a lot of people don't even pray over their food. But seeing at the times that we're in now, it's more vital than ever to pray to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai to, purify and bless the food that you're going to receive and that your, family's going to receive. All right, so let's go back.
Diners will be some of the first people to get a chance to taste what researchers have been working on for years. CBS's Anna Werner shows us how labs could one day replace farms in tonight's American Innovation.
Caramelized, just like a regular.
My bad.
The American Innovation.
Caramelized, just like a regular conventional chicken.
The chicken they're cooking at Chef Jose Andres' Washington, D.C. restaurant comes not from a bird, but a lab, from chicken cells grown into meat here at the company Good Meat in Alameda, California.
We call it cultivated chicken.
Cultivated chicken. Company co-founder Josh Tetrick.
Cultivating meat is a way of starting with a cell and ending with...
You look like a damn satanic worshiper. Tetrick. Wouldn't be surprised if he not a Amalekite, but I digress.
Chicken, beef, or pork without all the other issues in between.
This is the research and development lab.
It starts with those chicken cells,
This is our biggest bioreactor.
which are bathed in a nutrient broth in tanks known as bioreactors.
The genetic profile is the same as a slaughtered chicken.
Environmental advocates say cultivating meat is more sustainable compared to traditional livestock farming because it uses less water and land. In June, federal regulators approved the sale of lab-grown meat from Good Meat and nearby Berkeley-based Upside Foods. But some
Upside Foods. It's upside down. Hey, it made me think just made me think of that scripture. Okay. They see the Lord is he's having these devils really just telling themselves really. All right, why would you call it upside food? Upside, right? But and they all called it the other companies called good food. But that's just the wickedness of this devil, right? He calls good evil and calls evil good. But let me get this in the book of Isaiah 29 verse 16. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed of him that framed it, or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he have no understanding? You see? So this devil calls this fake lab grown food good or upside, right? So that must mean that the food from livestock, from animals whom the Lord commanded us to, that's where we should get our meats from, right? From the clean animals. Esau is saying, no, those are bad for you, right? Those are causing climate, problems. Their farts, cow farts, letting out the methane is what is causing carbon emission to skyrocket. So we have to get rid of the animals, right? Get rid of eating livestock and create food in labs, right? In a building for scientific experiments. And we'll use our scientists and our researchers to make this happen. And they're none other than what? Witches, modern day witches and warlocks. Okay?
Nearby Berkeley-based Upside Foods. But some researchers say the environmental impacts of cultivating meat will need to be closely monitored as the industry grows.
Just by the virtue of creating this meat in a lab doesn't necessarily mean it's better for the environment.
And will people eat it? Most we asked did.
I mean, it tastes good.
Of course.
Yeah, it's
It's
really
well
good.
prepared.
If you didn't know, you wouldn't really question it.
Yeah, I'd buy it.
You bet.
I'd buy it, sure.
Although not everyone will.
Sorry, I don't like it.
The chicken won't land in stores until the company figures out how to scale up production. Its next target? Beef. Anna Werner, CBS News, Alameda, California.
So you see those people, majority of people are with it, man. Majority, these people are just dead bird brain zombies. Majority of the people in this world, they're, as the scripture says, they are born in vain. All right, that's why in Second Esdras it said in being idle, he shall offer you things offered unto idols. Let me pull that up. Second Esdras 16. Verse 68, for behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and he shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. All right. And a lot of people are just idle. All right. Their minds are just on that, like you have a computer, you just put it on sleep mode, right? The computer is technically still on, but it's sleep. That's how these people are, man. Their brains are they may have activity, their neurons may be shooting off, but their brains are done, man. They might as well be, vegetables, right? Brain dead. And that's why you see a lot of these people, they're just going to go right along with everything that Esau is bringing out, not realizing the actual wickedness that these devils are doing, right? And how far they're going to oppose the Most High. Because, see, the scripture says that we were going to eat our bread defiled amongst the Gentiles. But Esau's he's going further than defiling bread. All right. He's going further than just like making regular food unclean. This devil is saying, nah. That's not far enough. We want to actually give you fake food. We're going to actually have the sorcery, which we call technology, and we have the scientists. All right, or we have the witches and warlocks, what we call scientists and researchers, to actually make this happen. So you're no longer eating your actual food or bread defiled. Now we're actually giving you fake food. We're giving you edible enchantments. Okay? We're giving you poisonous potion pork, which you shouldn't be eating pork anyway, but that's what they're doing. All right? And magic mushrooms. It's an inside joke. Yeah, but that's what they're doing, man. Okay? And they're doing that all in the name of what they say science. But this is 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 20. O Timothy, keep that which is entrusted to thy, so I can keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science falsely so called. Okay? So Esau and his false science, which the word science means true. It means truth, but everything that he's bringing out in the name of science is a deception, is a delusion, is an illusion. Makes you think of that movie Matrix, right? Where you had the guy eating the fake steak and he was like, I know this isn't real, but I taste real. It smells real. And that's exactly what these That's exactly what these technological beef and chicken and whatever else they're making is. Okay? They're appealing to your senses, right? To the smell and to the visual. They're being sensual. And the ones who are sensual, the ones who are carnal mind, they're just going to see this. Well, it smells like chicken. It looks like chicken. It tastes like chicken. It feels like chicken. So it's chicken. But you really just eating a bunch of demons, right? Concocted in a laboratory by a bunch of witches. But I'm in it there, Lord willing. This is edifying unto the elect, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakakwadash, Wa Abad Babal, Wa Abad Adawan, Wa Abad Gawayim, and Wa Abad all wicked Israelites, man, that want this place to continue. All right. Abad Babal, Abad Gawayim, Abad Adawan. Shalom.